Chris here from Canopy Crypto. Just wanted to talk to you today about how best to hire on Upwork versus Fiverr and the differences between them and some things, some pitfalls to look out for when you're hiring developers or contractors or designers. Now I've been doing this for about 10 years or so and have hired a number of freelancers, developers, designers for various apps, an e-commerce store, WordPress plugins, and crypto. So I've got quite a bit of experience. I've probably done a dozen projects or more, maybe 2 dozen even, across Upwork and Fiverr, and just want to cover some things to look for and best approaches to hire the right people for the right job that you're providing them, and also to control cost and payment and meet budgets. So one of the first things is, well, which one should I use, Upwork versus Fiverr? Generally, Upwork is larger jobs. They have a sort of more skilled workforce, I think, that go deeper into a number of elements of interactive design, web, creative design. Generally speaking, not to say, Fiverr, there are unskilled people. There certainly are. They're just smaller jobs on Fiverr versus larger jobs on Upwork. And there's often, an account manager on Upwork and managing a subgroup of developers. So be aware that, if you've got a larger project and it's many months, you might want to try Upwork. If it's just a logo or something that might take a couple of days, then Fiverr is likely your best bet. Smaller job sizes, I'm just guessing, but around $100 to $200 for Fiverr sort of seems to be my average, and several thousand for Upwork per job seems to be the average there. So yeah, when you're hiring people, you want to try and go for the 5-star people or at least the 4-star people, but really look at their communication skills. I think that's one of the most important aspects to look at. If they can't communicate and give you updates and answer questions, if they're being elusive, it'll cost you money, and you won't get the product that you want for your software project or whatever it is. Again, less risk with Fiverr. I've tried a number of different logo designers and freelancers there, and so there's less risk. But with Upwork, if you're committing to big projects, you want to really look at the references. You want to read the reviews of other customers for the freelancers or the agencies, and go from there. So that's the size of the job, and the skills required are a big factor for Upwork versus Fiverr. Team versus developer. Now that's another thing. You get a lot of teams on Upwork, and there's an account manager, and they manage through a team of developers, for example, on a software project. You do want to make sure that if it's a big project and there's a lot more risk, don't just rely on one person. They can be sick, they can take time off, there's holidays. If you need you've got a timeline, go for an agency, or at least a group of a reputable team of workers versus, if it's just a single person, you could, not hear from them for weeks on end, which has happened to me. They kind of ghost you, and then they're like, oh, sorry, it was our holiday, or I didn't know this, this was urgent, or some excuse. So I would definitely err on the side of big projects, Upwork, hire a team with maybe a project leader. Fiverr, again, if it's just a crypto token or a one-off, something straightforward, logo, design, landing page, something simple, you can save some money and go for a single developer and get direct communication. But again, big projects, do think twice about hiring a single freelancer if if there's issues with them. And also working through bugs. Sometimes software development is really tricky, and one person can get stuck I've had somebody get stuck on a crypto project and not get back to me for weeks, and it was clear that they were working on it, trying to figure it out, but they didn't have an answer for me. And if there's a team, it's more likely they can figure out the bugs and move on. Manual time versus not manual time. For initially, I would recommend that you ask them to show screenshots in manual time. If you don't have a relationship or know a freelancer or an agency, you need to see what they're working on. Often, again, some of the sketchier contractors I've used have refused to use manual time, and that was a red flag for me. So they should at least be open to it and nothing to hide. Showing you what they're working on is pretty key. Also, don't be coerced into paying offline or outside these marketplaces. That is a red flag. I've had people ask for my Telegram so they could, we could pay by crypto to avoid the 20%, 15-20% fees that Fiverr and Upwork marketplaces charge. Trust me, it's well worth it to stay on the marketplaces and not try and save a few pennies or cryptos offline going direct. You don't know what you're going to get. I've even got talked into paying somebody a little bit of ether for a side project and never heard from them again. I mean, it goes on. There's no recourse. You can't review people if they go offline off the platform, and they have no reason to finish projects, and it can be a nightmare. Another hack or a tip is use ChatGPT to check some code. If you're not sure about some code and you don't know React or whatever, PHP, whatever you're working in, just ask them for, to look at, you need the source code. Always get full downloads of source code periodically so that you don't lose any of your work. That's another thing. But just have ChatGPT look through some of their code, make sure it's error free and that they're doing things up to standards. ChatGPT has a great code checking functionality. If it's a big project, you might want to look at setting milestones. Or a fixed budget. It's always hard, but at least set milestones, which you can do in Upwork, and it's a really good way to keep people on track. You set dates and times for things need to be done by, and again, Fiverr is a smaller, project marketplace generally, and so you might not need this, but you do want to. If you're not setting a fixed budget, if it's a logo for $100, no big deal. But if it's $1,000 and it's going to take several weeks, or 2,000 or more, then you need to set milestones or have some accountability along the way and make sure things are being done. Like, I want the UI done by this date, I want the database tested by this date, and so on. My final piece of advice is hire a usability expert. This is, you don't know all the code, and you're not going to have all the versions of software that your users are, or Android versus iPhone if it's an app. There's all sorts of versions of each. It's really, really important to test on multiple platforms: Apple, Android, tablet, phone, and desktop. And a good usability expert will do all this testing for you, and it's invaluable, because I can't tell you how many times things have worked great on Apple but they didn't on Android, or the tablet was not optimized in terms of sizing for the software that I was developing. So hire a UX developer and you will save time and money. So yeah, there you go. Hope that's helpful. Upwork versus Fiverr, it's always a bit of a gamble picking a new developer, but look at the reviews, make sure you find out, get some references, and make sure that they've got some experience in the area that you're hiring for, and hopefully it will work out for you and you will have a good experience and get the job done. Thanks for watching.